we now turn our attention to Nigeria. Now, as the 9th Houses of Assembly give way to the 10th in states across the country, the tussle over House speakership has metamorphosed into a bone of contention in some of the states. Arise News correspondent Mary Chinda reports that while states such as Lagos, Ekiti, and Osun are having it smooth, it's become a different kettle of fish in the Nasarawa State House of Assembly.
The race for the speakership of the Nasarawa State House of Assembly took a different twist on Tuesday as two lawmakers within the governing APC in the state claimed to have won the speakership in two different elections. Ibrahim Balarabe, who has the backing of the state governor Ibrahim Sule, emerged speaker after being voted for by 11 out of the 24 members in an election that was held outside of the House of Assembly premises. Meanwhile, Daniel Ogazi emerged in another election in the State Assembly with 13 out of 24 lawmakers voting for him. In other states, speakers have continued to emerge as Mudashiru Obasa has won the speakership of the 10th Lagos House of Assembly for the third time. In Ekiti, a new House of Assembly speaker has also emerged. Benue, Kogi, and Osun states also have new speakers of the state houses of assembly. Mary Chinda, Arise News.
Well, joining us now to discuss the political undercurrents in Nasarawa State that led to the emergence of two speakers in the House of Assembly, as well as a possible way out of this quagmire, is Samuel Akala, a former chairman of Kangaroo local government area. Many thanks for honoring our invitation here on Newsday.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be with you this afternoon.
Thank you. So, according to what we understand, reports suggest that when we're looking at Balarabe Abdullahi, he was elected at a sitting which took place at the Ministry for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs in the state. That's on one hand, while Ogazi emerged as speaker from the proceedings of the State Assembly complex. Now, when we look at what the ideal situation should be, where should this election have taken place?
Well, I think that is a question that every discerning mind should be able to answer without any doubt. Every legislative activity, every election, whether sitting proceedings, everybody knows will have to take place at the State Assembly complex. And in this case, the governor issued a proclamation on Monday. The clerk of the assembly accordingly issued written invitation letters to members elect to be inaugurated Tuesday 6th. And in compliance to that invitation, members elect were at the assembly in the morning to be inaugurated. And unfortunately, from what we have seen so far, and of course, judging from what has happened in other states, that my own state has been enmeshed in an unnecessary crisis. This is because when the members got to the assembly in the morning, all the 13 of them first got there, and then another 10 arrived later on, and decided to leave the gate. But at the gate was barricaded by security agencies. So immediately the 10 left. The clerk, the acting clerk now, issued a press release to the effect that the inauguration has been postponed indefinitely. No date was given. And to the amazement of every citizen of the state, after about 2-3 hours, because the acting clerk acted, according to him, on the advice of security agencies in the state, that there are certain security threats. That is why the inauguration should be postponed. But after 2-3 hours, to the amazement of everybody, the same security agencies who the clerk claimed advised him to postpone the election escorted the 10 members to the Ministry for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, gave them full security cover to conduct a kangaroo election that produced Balarabe Abdullahi. And Not only that, to the amazement of all of us in the states, I am a member of the APC. And I have been in the APC since inception. What became so worrisome in the development is the fact that after giving security cover to Balarabe, both Air Force, men of the Nigerian Army, police officers gave them that cover at the ministry. After that election, by 10 members out of 24. 10 out of 24. And after that election, according to them, Balarabe emerged, and immediately they were further escorted to Government House, and they were warmly received by the governor of the state. So that is where I became so very worried, and every citizen of the state became so worried. It means the governor has validated the rascality and the kangaroo election that took place at the Ministry for Local Government. So questions begging for answer. In whose interest is the acting clerk doing all of this? So at that point, the acting clerk never served a notice to members, whether by a written notice or by text messages or emails to members elect to the effect that the election is postponed. The other members kept vigil at the gate to say, look, we have to remain here and get inaugurated. So at about noon, when the news came that the acting clerk is already conducting another proceeding somewhere, the 13 members have to gain access to the assembly hallowed chambers, conducted the election, and Honorable Daniel Ogazi emerged. For us, we are so worried with this development, and I cannot also understand the role of security agencies in the present circumstance. Agencies of government who are supposed to ensure that there's peaceful coexistence in the state are now being willing tools in the hands of politicians to meddle into the affairs that is purely just a legislative procedure that is supposed to be essentially reserved for members elect only. Nobody has a right to vote in that election. Only the members elect. So I am so worried as I speak with you this afternoon about the development in Nasarawa State.
All right, then thank you for bringing us up to speed, Mr. Samuel. But I want to know what your reaction is to the claims that the 13 members elect who are supporters of Honorable Daniel Ogazi, who, despite being members of the All Progressives Congress, have, in fact, aligned with opposition political parties, whereby, on the other hand, the 11 members who remained loyal to Honorable Balarabe Abdullahi, also a member of the APC in the state. Are we looking at a case of infiltration? Can you clarify what is happening that is causing this division and creating factions?
I think there are no cases of any infiltration anywhere. Both groups have, you see, the Nasarawa State House of Assembly is made up of 24 members. And the members elect as it is today has 8 from the PDP, 3 from the SDP, 2 from the NNPP, and 11 from the APC. So both groups have members of different political parties. And again, to also say that once you're elected a member of the assembly, your identity of the party as far as business of the assembly is concerned has to give way, because you are now a member of the assembly. Every of those members, whether PDP, APC, has the right to be voted for and to vote in the proceeding to elect who is your leader. So basically, it's for you to elect from among yourself. That is what the Constitution clearly stated, that members shall elect among themselves a speaker and deputy speaker. It does not say whether from the PDP or the APC. So whoever will try to bring in the issues of opposition parties and what have you, what makes an opposition party member elect inferior than the ruling party elect? Nothing. As far as the law is concerned, they are all members of the Nasarawa State House of Assembly, and each and every one of them is entitled to exercise his franchise in determining who leads the House. So it is, I can just clearly say, those are just distractions to further ensure that this crisis degenerates.
Duly noted. Now, from what we understand, what's been assessed based on the situation that's played out, we understand that if there's no external intervention, that these two gentlemen will have to serve as speakers of this assembly. I'm trying to pair this up with the fact that you mentioned earlier that it seems the governor has somewhat validated this rascality in your own words. So who would this external intervention come from? Who would be the right person to intervene in this matter?
Well, expectedly, the governor is actually supposed to play a very neutral role in the circumstance, owing to the fact that he is the chief security officer of the state. Whether we like it or not, the primary responsibility of every responsible government is security of lives and property. And anything that can cause crisis, every responsible government will have to try as much as possible to avoid those paths. And I expect that the executive will have to remain neutral at the moment, because this kind of crises are not actually new when it comes to elections of leaders of various legislative arms. You recall that in 2019, similar episode happened even at the National Assembly. So I expect that the governor at this point should be able to summon the courage and put these two groups together and say, look, can you please go back to the hallowed chambers of the Nasarawa State House of Assembly and elect your speaker? I believe that these people can come together, even as of today, go to their chambers and elect whoever they want. So I think this clearly should be the path that every discerning mind should be advising these members. And for any extraneous influence on the election, nobody except the 24 of them have the right to vote on who becomes the speaker. So we can only express our interest, verbal interest, and say, look, can you please look at Mr. A or Mr. B? But it is this sole discretion of the members-elect to determine who will be their leader. So I call on His Excellency, the governor that I know very well, who is always passionate to ensuring that there is peace and peaceful coexistence on the state, to please call these people together and please provide the atmosphere and call on the security agencies not to meddle into the affairs of the proceedings of the House, because they have overreached themselves in the current crisis that is happening in the state. Because you cannot be the one to allow yourself to be a willing tool in the hands of politicians. You cannot be the one to allow the clerk to say, look, you are acting on the advice of security agencies, and the same security agencies are escorting minority, 10 out of 24, to a different location, not even to the House of Assembly. The House of Assembly was wide open. There were no crises, there was no security threat anywhere around the House of Assembly. For them, so I call on the security agencies to please do the needful, allow these 24 members to get into the hallowed chambers of the Nasarawa State House of Assembly and elect their speaker.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Samuel Akala, former chairman of the Kangaroo local government area. We'll be watching this news story very closely.